The first book of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. Again, the Lord says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. Amos chapter 9, verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. Back then was speaking to the children of Israel, but we know the Bible is twofold. It's speaking to America today. It says, behold, the eyes of the Lord, Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, America, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, says the Lord. We all heard about what took place in Russia today, and we've been monitoring it to see how Russia is going to respond. And we have a couple of articles to share with you, and also a statement from the next in command. After Putin goes down, he's going to take the helm. He's more hawkish than Putin. Medvedev. That's right. Medvedev made a statement today. But first, we're going to share a report with you right now. That came from Haltena. And also covert intel. Things are really moving very quickly. Okay, but first and foremost, let's give honor and glory to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahawah, our Heavenly Father, and His only begotten Son, our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi. Let's give double honors to our head apostles, the elders, the bishops out of the great millstone that taught us this truth, and salutations, peace to the tabernacle of David, the 144,000, followed by the large multitude, men, women, children, whom our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi, is going to have mercy upon. I pray that this message find all of you in perfect peace, those that actually believe in the testimony of our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi. I'm speaking about the sincere, those that actually believe. That's why, and that's who this message is for. Yes, and we know that YouTube is playing with our upload, our live. I did a lesson this morning, family. I just posted it this evening. It took more than 9 hours just to upload that video. Frustrating. Yes, today we were live. We went live today, myself and my brother Taz One. And also the same thing. We have to restart our video 2 or 3 times actually. Halfway, it started buffering, we stopped, we tried it again, the same thing. We have to, family. So yes, this message here is destroying. Esau, Edom, self-proclaimed white man, and he can handle it. He can handle it. But this one here, family, is going to be quick. I'm going to try not to make it too long because it's taking forever to upload the lessons. So I'm going to make it short, okay? I'm going to first, let's get in quick to a precept. Let's go to a precept. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14. It says this: the great day of the Lord Yahawah is near, and you can see that the day of the Lord is fast approaching. Today is June 1st, family. This is the best present in June. I've never seen anything like this. The attack is still going on in Russia right now. And yes, they are getting their strategic bombers out. Europe is going to be attacked. Something major is about to happen. I speak as a man, but family, this is the time to know, make sure that your house is in order. Make sure you're praying. Make sure you're fasting. Make sure you're doing the best that you can. Because the whole world is about to be turned upside down. The financial system is about to be collapsed. Mentioned by Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan. He said it. Yeah, they know what is about to take place. They need this war. They need this war. And they need this war. They need this war. So that's why, family, things are escalating. And they don't know that this war is what's going to end their kingdom. But you know it. This is the war that's going to end their kingdom. But make sure that you stay prayed up. Make sure you're fasting. Make sure that you're repenting. It says the great day of the Lord Yahawah is near. It is near and it hasteth. It's hasted greatly. It's what? Hasted mean what? It's coming quick. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty men shall cry there bitterly. Your military men, they are going to cry there bitterly. Because things are about to be worse. It said that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Reading Zephaniah 1:15 doesn't sound like it's going to be a good day at all. No. Remember, the day of the Lord, the sun will not give its light. There will be no light. The moon, the stars, nothing is going to be. Family, that's the day of the Lord. Chaos everywhere, darkness. Total confusion. That's what the day of the Lord. Let me read this in the NLT. It says, it will be a day when the Lord's anger is poured out, a day of terrible distress and anguish, a day of ruin and desolation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and blackness. No sun. A day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. No place to hide. It says, and I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men. He said, because they have sinned against the Lord Yahawah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Because you go to Zephaniah 12:14, is it 14:12 or 12:14? At 14:12. It says what? Let me go there quickly. Let me go there. I know. I promise this was going to be quick. But let's go to Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah 14:12. It says here, Zechariah 14:12 says, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. What plague is it talking about? Because this is going to be what? The nuclear war. It said their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. The only thing that's going to do that is what? Nuclear. That's right. People are going to melt. That's what is coming. That's what Zephaniah is saying here. It says what? And their flesh as the dawn. Let me read that. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord Yahawah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. That's what is coming. And that's what we have to warn you about. Because everything happening right now is leading to that. Let's read this. Coming from Haltena, and I'm going to share the intel report with you. And there's a quick update here. The attack by the United States proxy Ukraine makes Russia more vulnerable to a U.S. nuclear attack. Response options are being considered in the Kremlin tonight. The use of Oreshnik hypersonic ballistic missiles is actively being discussed. But against whom? Tomorrow, both Russia and Ukraine are scheduled to engage in another round of peace negotiations at Istanbul, Turkey. Rumors are swirling throughout Moscow that Russia will announce it is withdrawing from all peace negotiations, that this conflict will be settled on the battlefield. That's another rumor. Another rumor is that Russia intends to give Ukraine 48 hours to unconditionally surrender. Both of these are unconfirmed rumors. Also, word from the Russian Ministry of Defense is that Starlink, which is owned by who? Elon Musk, made this attack possible. Elon will not like the result. As of 7:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, U.S. time on Sunday evening, confirmation has come in that these are the two Tu-95 destroyed, two Tu-95MS damaged, one AN-12 destroyed, Bela Air Base, and then 3 TU. So you see it. You've seen it. So this destroyed quite a number of what is it called? Strategic bombers. But the information is still developing as at least 2 other air bases and 1 nuclear submarine base were also hit. The drones used by Ukraine to attack Russia were hidden in civilian tractor trailers. The trucks had a specially designed roof on the trailer, which opened at a signal by remote control, thus triggering the launch of the drones automatically. It gets better. Oh yeah, America fingerprints, the CIA, Mossad, MI6 fingerprints all over this, because that's Esau's job. Remember, his job is to take peace from the earth. The self-proclaimed white man, destruction. He is the champion of wickedness, the undisputed heavyweight of what? Wickedness. America, Babylon the Great, the Western Empire, Rome 2.0, they are the one that have destroyed the entire earth. Now their judgment is at the door. Family, judgment day is fast approaching. It says here, once all, it's also the drones allegedly use AI to identify the Tu-95 and Tu-22 bomber aircraft and autonomously attack them. Once all the drones had taken off, the trucks invoked a self-destruct feature which set the trailer on fire to destroy all trace evidence. Ukraine using civilian tractor trailers to launch military attack is a war crime. It also serves to now rule out any and all civilian limitation upon strikes in Ukraine. Since Ukraine is now knowingly using civilian appearing means to wage war, put simply, there is nothing in Ukraine any longer that is civilian. Now, this is what I wanted to bring up, and this is what triggered this lesson here. Listen to this. Extremely sensitive covert intel. Listen to what they are saying in Russia. From deep inside the Russian Ministry of Defense, an attack like this will require months to prepare and will include a large amount of highly specific intelligence. Only, this is the point, only the United States could provide. You hear? So, it says, in that the Bible says, let me go here quickly. Is it Isaiah 55? Or Psalm 55? Please bear with me. Isaiah 55:10, right? No, that's not it. It's Psalm 50. Is it Psalm 50? Please bear with me. Psalm 55. Is it Psalm 55? Yeah, Psalm 55 verse 21. It said the words of his mouth. Remember, didn't Trump just said that they want to talk? We wanted to have conversation with Putin. Wanted to have a phone conversation. A big deal. We're going to talk to me and Putin. I want to meet Putin. That's right. We're going to have peace. We're going to talk peace. Now we are going to negotiate peace between Ukraine and Russia. Listen, it said the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. The war was in his heart. It says his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn sword. America is the one attacking Russia right now. On one end, they're saying they are talking about peace. America is using Ukraine as a proxy to defeat Russia. Listen to this. Oh, it gets better. So only the United States could provide and would have provided it. No, it says, let me take my time. An attack like this will require months to prepare and would include a large amount of highly specific intelligence only the United States could provide, and will have provided it knowing full well that it was being used for. In other words, this is a U.S. facilitated attack. Ukraine would have gotten U.S. permission to carry out. You hear that? This further highlights how disingenuous U.S. negotiations have been with Russia. There's no intent on ending the conflict. Operations have continued, even escalated since President Trump took office. That's what we've been telling you. We've been telling you through the spirit and power of our King, our Redeemer, Yahawashi, that what? The prophecies are what is going to stand. Nobody is going to stop what the Lord plan is that what? Russia is going to destroy America. That is what the Lord said, and that's what's going to be fulfilled. Listen to this. Updated at 7:58 this evening on Sunday, June 1st. Sources in Russian military just conveyed to me any operation like this will require ISR only. ISR. I can't remember what that means. Let me see if I can get it. I can find out what this is. Look up ISR. It's what? No, that's not it. I can't remember. I know somebody mentioned. I can't remember. What the hell is it again? What is? Let me see if Google will tell me. Please bear with me. What is ISR? Yeah, ISR often used in a military context stand for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Yes, shoot, I should have known that. That's right. And it what encompasses the process of gathering, analyzing, and disseminating information to support decision making. That's right. So here is telling you. That's right. It says the ISR only the United States could provide, and constant updates all the way up until the decision to launch the operation was made, and then additional ISR from the US to assess the outcome. In other words, the US enabled this attack on Russia's strategic bombers while pretending to mediate amid its own proxy war on Russia. There is also evidence the drones use satellite communication to control them remotely, meaning US-based Starlink. Yes, this is what they've been doing all over the world. Now they've met their match, but let's get this statement from what is it called? Medvedev. Dmitry Medvedev. He is the second in command. If something happened to Putin, he's going into the power seat. Yeah, he used to be the former president and also the former prime minister of Russia. Statement by Medvedev after the major Ukrainian blow. No one can help Ukraine now. Listen to this. It says, US warning. Russia response will be highly disproportionate to Ukraine attacks. Do you hear what they're saying? What Ukraine did, Russia attack is going to be even worse. Let's read on. Washington is to issue an American warning through its embassy in Kiev to Ukraine Western allies, stating that the Russia response to today's Ukrainian attack will be disproportionate in terms of its size and intensity. At the same time, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev issued a harsh statement saying, the Ukrainians are playing with fire and will end up in hell. We know that there's no such thing as hell, family. Okay? The response will not only be asymmetric, it will be devastating. We know where these decisions, listen to this, this is the key word. This is the key word. So we just read from how Turner just told us what. That's why Russia is inside Russia right now. The Kremlin, they're saying that American hands are all over this. So here what they're saying, we know where these decisions are made. Meaning Kiev, I don't think so. Meaning the West, NATO. It said the time for polite settlement. Listen to this. The time for a polite settlement has come to an end. Family, like I said, this is like music to our ears. Because the more this thing escalates, family, the quicker we get our kingdom. It said the time for a polite settlement has come to an end. Now only iron and steel. Neither NATO nor the devil himself can help them. Breaking. U.S. officials are warning. This is from X. Monitor X says, U.S. officials are warning its European allies that Russia plans to conduct a disproportionate retaliation against Ukraine following today's attack. An official warning could be released by the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine shortly. It should be noted that Zelensky from the very beginning of the conflict had one and only goal, how to actively drag NATO into the war against Russia. It's something he has tried many times in the past and is repeating it now, choosing to inflame the climate just before the second round of negotiation in Istanbul, and it seems he will succeed. NATO will join this war. Of course, this will be the end for Europe. He says this will be the end for Europe, perhaps more broadly, but he seems to care little as what matters most is his own survival. At least that's what he thinks. Yeah, what he's saying is that what? Yes, Russia is going to respond, but it says not just Kiev. It's not just going to be isolated to Kiev. America hands are what? All over this. Now let's listen to George Galloway's update this afternoon. A few minutes of this and family, we're going to wrap this up. Listen to what George Galloway said about the event today.
A day of infamy in Russia, but just like Pearl Harbor, the response will be swift and terrible. Indeed, already is swift and terrible. And just like after Pearl Harbor, the end result can be in no doubt. The unconditional surrender of those now celebrating their acts of criminal terrorism in Russia today. 4 bridges blown up down on top of trains full of passengers, including children. And 4 nuclear bombers of the Russian Air Force destroyed by drones brought in by people posing in civilian dress and firing them out of log cabins. A considerable war propaganda coup, the one that only changes the course of the conflict to the detriment of those fools now celebrating. The talks, peace talks, begin again in Istanbul tomorrow. Wouldn't you just like to be a fly on the wall? And as the once ruling Conservatives in Britain fall into 4th place in the opinion polls, we take a look at Britain in particular. I thought I had gotten rid of all of them, but I just had to block 20. This is not in itself terrorism until you look at the way in which these drones were delivered. There's a suspicion that some of them were launched from Finland and Norway, which, if true, will be of enormous magnitude. But most of them were launched from log cabins or the back of trucks that had been driven by people wearing civilian clothes across Russia in order to place them close to these strategic nuclear facilities. Now, wearing civilian clothes to commit acts of war is, of course, a war crime. It renders the belligerent stripped of the protections of the Geneva Convention. They can be executed if they are caught. But there's no doubt that it has provided a very useful war propaganda, armed war propaganda, for the Ukrainian side and their paid cohorts of NAFO fools and fellas are, of course, celebrating on social media. I thought I had gotten rid of all of them, but I just had to block 20 or 30 more. But they'll be laughing on the other side of their face, or rather, the poor people of Ukraine, because the NAFO people are never in Ukraine. They don't even claim to be in Ukraine. They're just in the pay of those who are paying for the war in Ukraine. But the people in Ukraine are right now under incredible barrage of ballistic missiles, and maybe more to come. Maybe we'll get another viewing of the terrifying power of the Rawchaa missile, against which no defense in the world is yet available. The response to what happened today, when 4 nuclear bombers were set on fire, presumed destroyed, definitely an insurance write-off, is good propaganda, but of course it will change nothing in the course of the war. Russia has thousands of bombers, and it has thousands and thousands of very powerful weapons, including, of course, 1,500 operational nuclear missiles. It has battlefield nuclear weapons. It has the Rawchaa, and it has in total more than 4,000 500 nuclear bombs. I'm making these points not out of any love of war pornography, for I have none. That is not an affliction I have ever had. I've been in too many war zones for that. But to make the next point that I want to express, if anybody destroyed 4 United States Air Force nuclear bombers, what do you think would be the result? What do you think the United States would do to any country, any belligerent that broke the nuclear threshold, broached the inner sanctum of the nuclear doctrine of the United States of America? You just have to ask yourself that question, and you already know the answer. And the Ukraine will be getting that answer right now and in hours and days to come. Of that I have no doubt. But it undoubtedly will strengthen measurably those in the Kremlin who believe there's been far too much pussyfooting around in this war, and that it risks the loss of more life, not less, to wear kid gloves to avoid taking out the leadership of Ukraine and taking out the essential infrastructure of Ukraine. I just give you this example. On the day when 4 attacks were made on 4 separate railway bridges in Russia, there are 17 bridges across the river Dnipro. Russia has not destroyed a single one of them, though they could destroy all 17 of them right now in the next 60 minutes. That they have not done so is a testament to either the strategic patience of Vladimir Putin or the naivety of Vladimir Putin, always hoping that by minimizing the impact of the war on essential infrastructure used by civilians as well as military, that Russia could take the moral high ground. Russia could be the good guy in this conflict. But if you're bringing down railway bridges on passengers and crew, the entire crew of the train in Bryansk were all wiped out. Every railway worker on the train was wiped out by the terrorist attack on the bridge. The fact that the other side is now abandoning all caution, is now firing Storm Shadow missiles supplied by France this day into Donetsk, a part of Novorossiya, a part of Russia. French missiles fired into it today, killing and maiming civilian people. The fact that the other side is infiltrating people dressed as civilians, as terrorist belligerents, to fire drones at your nuclear task force is, of course, a spear at the heart of the Russian Federation. It is actually, I hate to use the word because it has real implications. It is an existential threat to the Russian Federation.
There you have it. So Russia have made it clear. Yeah, this war is escalating, and that's how the Lord designed it. Yes, and we thank the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi for bringing this kingdom to an end. We are at the end of this man's kingdom. 2 Ezra chapter 16 verse 35. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. It said, behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spoke. Don't believe this friggin' Trump and all these leaders talking about in 2030 they're going to do this. AI is going to take over this, that, and that. No, this is the end of their kingdom. They have 2 prophecies to fulfill. They have the microchip to implement, Revelation 13:16, and World War III to go to. That's it. And now JP Morgan is coming out and telling us that the economy is about to crash. and that will the crash will bring in your digital, that's right, system, their new world order. That's right, their universal basic income, CBDC, which is going to involve you taking a microchip. Yeah, and in fact, the World War III to destroy all these devils. This is where we are. We are at the end. That's what the Lord said. Believe what the Lord is saying, not these leaders, because this is the Lord's program. The Lord set them up to do exactly what they are doing. Behold, the plagues draweth nigh and are not slack. You hear? It says, as when a woman with child in the 9th month, bringing forth a son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains when the child cometh forth is slack not a moment. The Lord, and then he's going to go on to tell you, the Lord, the plagues that are coming upon the earth is going to be quick. This is not going to be slow. It's not going to be like something happened today and then we have to wait for 2 years for something else to happen. No. The baby is coming. The woman is pushing the baby. That she wants that baby out. That's how the Lord compare what is bringing upon this earth to a woman who is what? That's right, delivering a baby. He said, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. That's what is coming. Particularly this financial collapse. People are going to wake up the next morning and there's no job to go to. You calling, your boss is not picking up the phone. That's right, because your boss don't have answer for you. The only way out of this is what? If the Lord is with you. There's no way out except if the Lord is with you. This is where we are. So we are waiting for Russia to respond. And we believe that it's going to be major. Family, we are at the end of this man's kingdom. So that's been the update. Yeah. America hands are all over this. America. Babylon the Great. That's what they've been doing. The hammer of the whole earth. That's why Isaiah 13 was written. Jeremiah 50, Isaiah 34. It's all about what? The destruction of America. Babylon the Great. It's Russia that's going to lead other nations to destroy America. Isaiah 13, starting from verse 17. America is going to be the lake of fire. That's where all this is heading to. So with that, beloved, I pray that this message find all of you in perfect peace. And as you see these prophecies come to pass, I pray that it continue to build your faith. Hold on tight. Hold on tight. Don't lose your ticket. Do not lose your ticket. Onto the ship. The ship is coming. Yahawashi is coming, man. All right? I'm going to leave it there. Shalom.